Hello class, it's Mrs. Durst, and today we are going to paint the wood table. We've already created the lines in the last video, and we're going to use these three paints. This very dark brown, make sure it's not the black one. Get the dark brown one, and you'll know it's dark brown because it's called raw umber. And then find the burnt sienna, which is like a dark orange. And then you have our yellow ochre, which is dark yellow. So we have these three paints that we're going to use today. We have a cup of water. I have my green background with the lines on it, and I've kind of set it up here so when I turn the camera around, you'll see that. And I have a rag because you never know, things can happen. And I'm using a square brush. Now, if we're at the art room, I have slightly bigger ones, but if you're at your home, use the medium-sized one that you have been given. It'll just take you a little longer, but just be patient and enjoy the painting process. So I'm going to turn the camera around. Here we go. And yes, let me just straighten this out. Good. Okay, so I think you can see the line that we did with the ruler. Okay, and I have my palette, or you can use a paper plate. I have water here, but you're going to use quite a bit of this dark brown. So go ahead and put a nice big squeeze out there of this dark brown. You're going to need it, okay? And I'm just going to wet my brush and put a few drops on this raw umber and kind of mix it in. That'll just get the paint moving. Acrylic paint is very creamy, but it's pretty thick, like chocolate frosting. So what I want to do is go right up to that line I drew and paint right across, as straight as I can possibly go, right across that line. Nice and straight with that very straight brush. See how straight that brush is? And I just painted my table line there with the brown. And then I'm going to paint off this line that goes out here. Now you might be sad you're losing some wallpaper, but that's okay. That's just what happens sometimes with art. Okay, so there we go. The other line. And put a nice thick coat of brown. We do want to stop seeing the wallpaper, so we're going to go ahead and paint this out. Now remember, you can always pause the video and catch up and then start it up again when you get to a place where you're the same. I'm using a large brush because I'm trying to keep the video somewhat capable of going through the internet. So I'm kind of going a little faster than maybe you will, and I hope you don't mind. So just go ahead and give this whole table a good chunky coat of dark brown. And you see I have this other mat here that allows me to go right off the table, right off the table, right off the table like that. Okay, so I've used all the brown that was there. Okay, so once you're done with that first coat of brown, you're going to go back, I'm going to put my brush here safely. You're going to squeeze out yet another glob of brown, not the same amount, maybe smaller, slightly smaller amount. You're going to take a similar amount of burnt sienna, little doobadab, and some yellow ochre. There we go. And just like with the brown, you want to give it a little hydration. So I'm going to rinse my brush out. Ooh, my water turned into something like Coca-Cola. And just give it a little hydration on there, okay? So I'm going to take and grab some brown. And I'm going to give it another coat of brown. And while this paint here is wet, watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab some of this burnt sienna, just like that, burnt sienna, and I'm going to streak it through my brown, just like this. I'm going to turn this light. It's awfully dark here. I think I'm missing some light. Here we go. Turn this over this way. There we go. I think you can see it better now. So I'm streaking some burnt sienna, and then I'm going back. I'm not washing my brush off, and I'm going to streak in on the same angle as this line some of the yellow ochre. That's a very bright one. So if I get it too bright and I'm not really happy with it, I can use my rag and bring the dark back to it, okay? And you gotta take your brush right up to the line and pull it through the paint. Right up to the line and pull it down through the paint. Right up to the line and pull it down to the paint. Okay, so I'm gonna go to this next section. I'm gonna wet the brown. I'm putting a new coat of wet brown. Okay, so now this area is very wet. And then I'm gonna pick up a little yellow and streak it through. Okay, and a little raw umber. Whoa, that was a lot of raw umber. Whoop, it came right off. And I'm getting this very streaky wood color. Now in the center section of your table, your line will be straight down, where over here your line came out. Your line came out, your line came out. It's slowly straightening up. It's slowly straightening up to now, till about here, it's gonna continue to be straight. I'm gonna pull this up even further. Oh yeah, that's better. Okay, that over. Technical difficulties. All right, so let's work on this brown again. All right, drying off my brush a little because it was super wet. Okay, I'm getting some wet brown. I'm painting a section of wet brown. Then I'm gonna pick up some of another color. This is the burnt sienna, and I'm streaking it through, and I'm picking up a little of my yellow ochre, and I'm streaking it through. And I continue to work it in, and it will modify. I really love how this area looks. It really looks like a piece of old table, kind of an antique. Okay, so I'm on my way here. So I'm gonna continue with clean new brown, and I'm gonna stop right about here, pick up some of my burnt sienna and streak it through, just like so. Then pick up just a little bit of my yellow ochre, starting on this line here, and I streak it through. And this is how you would do any kind of wood motif. You would look at the colors of the wood you're trying to copy, and you would basically work them in. Wood is usually 3 or 4 colors in the grain, and that's what we're trying to do here. So you would look at those colors and work them into your palette, and then before you know it, you could very closely replicate some wood. I'm going to streak in some yellow here and some of this oak sienna. There we go. Ooh, that looks nice. All right, so I'm on my last little section here that I'm going to paint. I wanted to show you that angle again. So I'm going to put some pure brown and take it off the paper. See how I'm painting now in this angle? That's what I want. I want it to be kind of angled here. Okay. And then I'm going to bring sienna through it at an angle. Good. And then some ochre through this table on an angle. All right. So there is my wood table. I'm going to lift it up to you because I think you want to see this, but it's very wet. So you leave yours flat. But here is what this looks like. Let's see if I can get a good shot. So you can see it's very streaky. Let's see if I can get a shot of it where it's not so wet. Oh, I know what I can do. I'm turning my camera around because this lighting might be better. Yes, that lighting is better. So here is that wood. I'll get a picture and put it on canvas as well. But you can kind of see it. It looks like a really old antique table. And I just followed the lines of my what I used on my ruler. So now we have an antique, old looking table, and we have all of this wonderful backdrop yet to still use in our project. So keep working on this. Take care.